and welcome to our live stream. We are in Vision Entertainment and today we are going to play a demo of our city builder, Pioneers of Pagonia. I am Katharina, the community manager, and next to me is sitting our creative director, Volker Wertich. Hi Volker.
Hi Katharina, and welcome everyone out there to the presentation of our demo of Pioneers of Pagonia.
You're more than welcome to ask as many questions as you like. I will keep an eye on the chat, so don't hesitate to ask. We try to answer as many of them as possible. And I would say, without further ado, let's start.
Yeah, and we are jumping right into the game. You can see here our vessel, the Venturer, which arrived at the new island that we want to explore. And you can already see there's a small patch of land that we own here. Initially, it's marked with those border stones. The territory that we own, we see some deer running around here and a small forest. And the first thing we want to do is to explore more of the island and to extend our territory, because everything beyond that initial patch of land is unexplored and unknown to us. So we start out with placing an explorer's hut. We can do that here maybe in front. We will also place a guard tower. We will place one here on the western side to explore this area, and we'll place another one on the eastern side. We need to connect the buildings like this, for example, and here down with the ship. Since we have not much room here on this island right now in the starting area, I place the path next to the shore to make sure we are not losing valuable space for our buildings. And let's also place another guard tower here on this side. Okay. And also connect it. Now the initial buildings have been placed and you can see there's already activity coming. On the ship there's a lot of construction material and other goods which we brought to the island. And there are a lot of Pagonians inside the ship and they are heading out to pick up commodities and bring them to the construction sites. Here you can see they are carrying stones, also some wooden trunks for the explorer to build the buildings. Then in the front here there are also some diggers. They are responsible to level the ground. They have shovels with them and they will make sure that the ground is flat so the building can be raised. And while they are busy, we don't have to wait, so we can continue to place buildings, and we don't need like posts that we need to have ready, so the products to raise a building can be constructed and produced while we place the order already. Now this is a small forest, still a nice one, so it's softwood forest and we need softwood to construct new buildings. So the next thing we do is that we will take care of resource management for construction. So let's place here a woodcutter. We'll also connect it with the road network like this. We keep a road here, and we also need sawmills to make sure the wood is processed. And place one here, and maybe another one on the opposite side like this. And we also need stone to construct new buildings, and to get stone we have to search for the deposits. Here we can see there are some stone deposits. There's also a bit of coal back here. But for stone, it's, as you can see, it's partly outside our border, and our civilians will not move outside our territory to harvest resources. So what we always need is to extend our borders here a bit as soon as the guard towers are ready. So let's place quarries. We can place 2 here to make sure that we are getting new stone fast enough. Connect it like this. And we'll also need stone basins to shape the stones. So with the stone basin, we will take a look into the building a bit more detailed. You can see that there are work orders, and in the stone basin, for example, they turn the stone into cut stone, which is necessary for advanced buildings. But they also turn the stone into border stones. And border stones we need a lot because we don't have much space here. So we will place 2 more stone basins to make sure that we are getting new border stones faster. Oh, do it like this, still enough room.
So we have the guard towers, but what does the explorer do? What is their purpose?
As the explorer will head out to the unexplored lands here and explore it step by step, so the fog will move away. But to do so, the explorer needs rations, so it needs some kind of food supply which he can take along, because, well, initially his expeditions might be quite short like this, but later on the explorers will travel quite far and therefore they need food for their journey. But that's a good point, so let's start to also work on food production. We see there's a few animals running around here, so we can place a hunter. So maybe in here is a nice location to place a hunter. And we also have some raspberry bushes here, so that's some kind of additional simple food. We will also place a forager to get those. So I will try to not build the paths over the bushes, because then they are already destroyed. We don't want that, so we build it a bit like this here around, and we place a forager nearby. So this is a good location so that the food can be gathered. In the meantime, we can see that the first buildings have been finished. We can see here the guard tower is done and the explorer's hut is almost done. So we will come back in 1 or 2 minutes to see what they are doing when the people arrived in the building to start working. So for food, we also want to have a farm and to earn more food. Let's see. We will start with a vegetable farm. Here's a good place that we can use for a vegetable farm. Let's build it here, also connect it, and then we will place some patches of farmland next to it. Maybe, as you can see, we cannot place farmland at the beach. That's not fruitful ground, so that we can do it here. So let's place a few patches along this place here. And the farmer will be able to use 15, maybe up to 20. It really depends on the distance for the farmland, but we can place a few more, maybe one more row here, like that. That should be sufficient. We can also tell buildings what to do. Here, for example, for the farmer, we can say what he should plant. So the options are pumpkin and cabbage. Different versions of food have different benefits and different advantages. We will come back to that later when the food is used. In the meantime, as we can see, we need we need softwood for the construction of buildings, while we need hardwood for creating tools and weapons. And as we don't have much softwood here in the initial space, we want to build a forester as soon as possible. So let's go here. We can maybe build him down here in the corner to make sure that the trees are not planted everywhere in our village. And connect it. But the forester also needs to water the trees. That means we will need a well. We can place that maybe nearby, see where it fits. This is too dry here, the ground, but down here it's still possible. Do it like this. Okay, so the first buildings have been finished. Now it's maybe time to take a closer look at what they are doing. Here we can see the guard tower, and border stones have already been delivered to the guard tower. And the guards are picking up the border stones, heading out to the border of our territory and using the new border stones to shift the border step by step. And to do so, I can not only use the guard tower as a central point, but I can also tell them the direction I would like to go for. So for example, I would like to get this area here for additional buildings, and I can set a kind of a focus point here. And that means the guards will now completely focus on getting this area first before they extend into any other direction. We can do the same over here with the other guard tower. As we can see, there's a steep area here with some kind of mountain, so there's not much we can build up here. There's quite a lot of rocky terrain, but there's resources like more coal up here, so we will use that soon. So first, what I would like to do is with this guard tower to make sure that the stone deposits we saw in the beginning will be inside our territory to make sure that we can harvest them.
How would you rate the difficulty of this map? Or is there a way to adjust the difficulty in future versions?
In the demo, of course, the game is made to explore for the player, so it's like to get familiar with the mechanics and to understand how the game is working. We don't have combat and enemies and demo yet, but this will be available at early access. And at early access, you will be able to define what kind of map you want to generate, and you will have a lot of options, how steep the map is, how many resources will be there, and one of the options is also how many enemies will be there. So you can choose from the full range of, I want to build up peaceful, I don't want any stress, so you can choose no enemies at all. Or you can go to the point that you say, okay, for me I want a rough challenge and I want to be attacked quite often. And the exploration should be then also be limited by enemy camps, which are out there. And you can choose that, and that means that you are getting a lot of attention by enemies. And of course you can also lose that way if you are not fast enough with your economy in that case. Okay, so we have more buildings which are ready. You see the first sawmill is now operating. Tree trunks have already been delivered to the sawmills, and they are working now here to cut them into beams and into boards. The second sawmill on the other side is also working. We have here also the quarries, and the miners are heading out to the stones and getting new stone material, so that we can raise more buildings and extend our borders further. So we are almost done here with extension of getting these stones into our territory. We wait for a minute to get this patch, and then we will define a new location. Let's take also a look at the Explorer. We have seen here that the building is finished and we have explorers out there. There we have one. And as you can see now, the Explorer goes with some food here and will extend and remove the fog piece by piece. The Explorer is moving now over here. Maybe you can wait a second. And you will see now another piece of land has been explored. Now the Explorer is out of food and returning home.
We also see that the terrain is a little bit different there. The grass is much greener. So could you tell us something about the different terrain types?
Yeah, that's also true. In this case, it doesn't really matter yet for the demo, but later it will. This is fertile ground, which has a different kind of grass, so it looks more fruitful here. And this ground is especially suited to plant wheat, and that will grow especially excellent in this area. So for example, if you want to bake bread later, that's a good place to have some wheat fields. And there's different kind of terrain types. Here we have mostly default kind of grassland, but here you can also see some mud area. This is also suited, for example, to plant cabbage. But, many other plants will not grow on this ground. Okay, now we are coming to food consumption. So let's place a tavern. And the tavern is responsible for creating meals out of the different food ingredients that we produce. So where can we put it? We need the space here for the forest, but maybe we can try it up here.
There actually was another question in the chat. When does the EA start? Is it still planned on the 13th of December?
That's true, yeah. So the early access will start at the 13th of December. So that's just about 9 weeks to go. So if you're looking forward to this game, the wait is almost over. Okay, so we are placing a few passes here. You can see now that there are kind of helper grids here when I place a path. So what I want to do is I want to leave enough space here to place some market stalls and some tables. The buildings can be placed completely free in any angle and any direction, but the important thing here is that the grid, the support grid, helps me to estimate how much space I have somewhere. And as you can see now, we can here place, for example, some stuff inside. I will place here a market fountain, and we need some tables around the tavern to make sure that the people can go to eat there. Maybe put another table inside here. Maybe 2 more will fit. That's nice. Here also a few more tables. That should be plenty. And we will also build a few market stalls. So let's start maybe here, 1, 2. Now we build a bit more roads around that. Place like this, and we have place for 3 more market stalls here. Maybe a bit more out here. Okay, I think that's definitely enough. So what will happen later is that the tavern will, the cooks will head out to the marketplace, collect the food ingredients, go back to the tavern, cook meals, and then serve it at the tables. But that's in the future, as you can see. It all has to be crafted first and built. We also need residences for our people, and we will start to build a few residences here around that place. Or fit here, maybe we can even squeeze in a few more. Let's try it this way.
There's also another question from the chat. Can path be removed?
Yes, that's possible. So it wasn't in the first days of the demo, but now it is. So we can go here and choose demolish road, and then we can choose a section, for example here, that we want to demolish. But I will not demolish that yet because that's my main connection road, but I can maybe just demonstrate it here for a minute, so you can remove sections of the path that you had created before. Okay, we have here now the forester planting trees, as you can see. So what we should do is place more woodcutters, because those trees will grow up soon and we want to harvest them. So let's look for good locations for woodcutters. Be in the vicinity of the forester, but also to leave some space for the trees. That's good. The residences are also important to make sure that your units are not walking back to the ship every time. So when they are done with tasks, they will move back to make sure that they are in some kind of home. And as soon as we have residences, the carriers can also head to the residences. And this makes quite a major difference if you have new transports and they need only to walk a short distance. So it makes definitely sense to place residences in many different locations. And also especially around the tavern, because residents will also go to the tavern tables to eat. You'll also place a construction camp now. Construction camps are the same as mentioned right now for the residences, a kind of a resting point for the construction units. So let's see where we can place it. We have some space here. Maybe back here at the shore it's a bit better. That means when units which raise buildings are done, they will go to the construction camp to rest and wait for new orders. And that, of course, will help us to make sure that they are getting faster to the construction sites. Here you can see the well, which is also finished in the meantime. There are baskets of water fetched. And here we can see a forester, some plant trees. And depending on the need of water, for example, this sapling obviously needs water, and the forester is right now heading here and watering the tree. So
there's another question from the chat, quite specific. What can I do if my carriers are all jammed on the street, but I don't have space for a new street? Tear down houses?
Yeah, of course, in theory you can tear down houses to make room. But I have to say, in the demo, you will usually have maybe a population of about 500-600 people. So usually the traffic jam situation isn't that tricky at that point. But that will change. So since later, when you're really building up full cities and settlements here, you will have multiple thousand units in the game. And then the traffic situation and the management of the traffic is also a quite interesting challenge. And therefore, what you can do is you usually try to build alternative routes so that people can take other passes also if one street is overused. But it's also important to make sure that you're placing the buildings at the right spots. So there are good spots and bad spots, obviously. So for example, if you have buildings which have a lot of traffic, you maybe don't, as you can see, this is kind of my main connection road here right now. And therefore, buildings which cause a lot of traffic maybe shouldn't be additionally placed to this road to make sure that the traffic doesn't get too dense. Okay, we also want to create, we need new craftsmen at some point. Let's now start with this part. We need a guild hall, and we also need buildings to craft the tools. So let's place a guild hall here. Looks like a good spot. And we will build a wood workshop. Not that it's here. Let's get a road around this to make sure we have enough space left to expand here. And we will also get a toolsmith at this point. Still fits in here. Very nice. Okay. Those buildings, like for example the toolsmith, will not automatically start working when it's done because it's not sure what kind of tools you need. So for example, if you just want the toolsmith to produce everything, you can set every tool to unlimited, but you can also say, okay, I want 10 hammers, 5 shovels, 5 pickaxes, that's it. And then exactly those tools will be created. Tools can be created with copper. By the way, here we have some. So let's place a copper hut nearby. But the more efficient way is to use iron, but we didn't find iron yet. So for iron we would also need coal to melt the iron. Okay, those buildings are still then the construction. Maybe we can place a road here like this. In the meantime, let's see what kind of areas have been explored. So the guards here in the east expanded until this point and going up here. Oh, that's nice. There's a kind of a large lake uphill. Well, we don't have a fisherman yet in the game. That will be added to the game in the first quarter of 2024. So we cannot fish it at the lake, but still it looks like a very nice place and there's some space here. On the other hand, we see here there's a lot of rabbits running around, and food is really something that we would like to make sure our population can grow. So let's first go to the rabbits, tell our guards to extend into this direction first. Let's take a look at the other side. Here we already explored further. There's a large hardwood forest. And hardwood is also necessary to craft tools and weapons. Right now it's more kind of an obstacle for us because we would like to have more space to build new buildings. So tearing down the forest will take a bit of time, so maybe it's a better idea to extend here to this place, because there we can use additional space also and place buildings here. So what we will do is we tell here our guard tower to go this direction and expand here. In the meantime, we can also, for example, tell the explorer, because we don't know what's there, where to explore. We will do the same here, because we are not sure what is beyond that spot. So we will tell our explorers to go here to the west first and to find out what's here. Here between the trees we also find limestone already. That's necessary to create cement for the more advanced buildings. That's very good to know. And so I do a change. I switch again the guard tower and tell the guard tower first, please expand to the limestone. That's really nice to have early. So early on I would like to build another quarry here to fetch the limestone and cement.
So how does the map generation work? Is it handcrafted or procedurally generated?
Yeah, our maps are procedurally generated. So that means that it's kind of a fascinating exploration every time. So every map is different. There are millions of seeds. And of course, it will also be possible to share seeds. So if you found a very exciting, interesting map, you can also share that with the community. And the map is really consisting of many different elements. So on one side, of course, it's the landscapes, the place, how much place do we have to build, where are the resources, where are the trees, where are the deposits, where are the animals, where are enemies that are blocking your advancement. And on the other hand, there's also neutral factions, and the neutral factions, they will have kind of quests, so it's objectives, and you need to fulfill those objectives, and this will also be procedurally generated. So this will be a high replayability value because of the procedurally generated map. Okay, the extension here is going on as expected. Maybe here are some animals, but I think the hunter here, as you can see, has quite a large range, so we'll be able to hunt for animals even up here. What you can also see now is that units get highlighted to find them easier. So for example, if I highlight, select the hunting lodge, I can see where the hunter is currently moving, and maybe we can see another hunter is here. So he's taking some meat out of that deer, so that deer is now completely harvested. And deers do not only deliver meat, but they also deliver leather. However, in the demo, the leather was not yet in. Here we can see that different kinds of meats are gained, but we didn't build a provisioner yet, so that's something we should definitely do. Let's place a provisioner. Well, this place doesn't look bad. Go here. Still gives us room here maybe to build a road outside like this. So the hunter and the provisioner are more directly connected, and the provisioner, we can tell what he should use to create rations, and I would like to use rabbit meat and the boar meat and wild boars, and that we don't have yet. Later can be used to create rations too. But it's a bit different for the deer meat, because deer meat is very delicious. Our inhabitants of the village will like it a lot. So I will disable that, so that the deer meat is not used for the rations, but instead only for creating new population. There's another few residences here. So let's see. In the meantime, the tavern is ready, and we can see a lot of people are already eating or waiting for their meals. Maybe we can take a look at the cook. Here we have one. One of the cooks is here going to the market stalls, fetching the goods which have been delivered. So all of that happened in the background. So as you see in this game, you don't have to control the units, but instead they are acting automatically, and all the materials have already been delivered. All the raspberries which have been collected are in this market stall. You also see meat back here. So some deer meat, very nice. We don't see yet vegetables, and that's a good reason for it. Because of talking too much, I forgot to place a well in the vicinity, so it's probably lacking some kind of water. So we can still get one here. So let's place it, and we put the well now on priority. Because we forgot that one, we want to make sure it's built as fast as possible. Let's take a look here. We can see the farmers are harvesting cabbage and pumpkins, but the water supply is at 0, and this probably means that we already have a few plants which are rotting because we are in lack of water. That might also be a problem down here for the forester. Also no water left because of that, and the foresters cannot water the new trees, and that means they would die. So 2 wells should be enough for those 2 buildings. But we can place a third farm. There's also a crop farm. And since we are really running out of space here, we'll place this at a different location. So we'll go up here. So first, let's build the quarry here. So we can fetch the limestone that we found before. Let's see if we can already connect this with our main village. Yeah, there's possibilities to get a path through the forest, so the pathfinding system is here. Also very nice, trying to find if there's any possibility to already connect it. And we will also need a stone mill. The stone mill will then turn the limestone into cement. Since we now have the limestone in our territory, we can more go here, over here, and extend to this nice place. This looks like a great place for a crop farm. So let's extend this way.
I have another question for you from the chat. Is there beer at the tavern, and does a tavern afterwards limit the work output?
Well, the brewery is not yet in the game. That's also a building which will be added later. Right now they have to drink water. I'm really sorry. You have some flexibility already on the food ingredients that you have, but for drink, at early access, there's only water from the market fountain. Later, there will be beer. And if there's beer, then beer will have a higher, let's say, nutrition value. So especially the miners will be really happy if they are served with beer, and they will be more productive in that case. Okay. In the meantime, our expansion crew here made sure that the rabbits are in range. So this is really a good place for a hunter. So let's build it here. By the way, for the buildings, for the efficiency, just as a side note, you can of course put it in any angle. But for example, for many buildings, it makes sense to place the entrance into the way of where you want to get the resources, because that means the walking distance of the units is shorter. So in general, the whole game is a really detailed simulation. That means that all all distances really matter exactly as you see them. So if the units have to walk twice the distance, then it takes twice the time to get those resources. Okay, so we are happy here. There's also some silver in this area, so this is a nice resource we will need later for different things. So one thing we can do with silver later is that we can use it for trades with NPC factions, so we can create silver coins and use them for trade. But we can also craft, there's a silver weapon, because there's an evil enemy type, which is the werewolf, and especially silver weapons are suited to hunt the werewolves. And yeah, that's the main purpose of silver. But also there's a third purpose. We can also store silver coins in a treasury, and that will additionally motivate our soldiers in combat, so it will increase their overall combat power. We will tell now this guard tower to extend up here, because there's a lot of coal and also some space, so we can build a few buildings here. Let's take a look here at the guild hall. In the meantime, it has been supplied with many tools, and we can hire new workers here. So while the buildings hire the workers automatically, so if a building is finished, it will try to hire the workers here at the guild hall, and if the tools are available, the unit will be automatically equipped and head to the building. For construction units, that's different, so those need to be recruited manually. And the amount of construction units, of course, decides how fast we can raise new buildings. So for example, we can say now we need, for example, we have currently 15 diggers, 20 builders and 40 construction carriers, so maybe we want 5 more builders, 5 more diggers, 10 more builders and 10 more construction carriers. And you can already see that it starts happening. Here you can see a +5, that means they are already incoming. So they are incoming here, picking up the tools, transforming them into the new unit types that you wanted, and they will start working immediately.
Is it possible to reduce the amount of workers in the buildings? For example, the hunters building have 2 instead of 3 hunters?
No, that's not possible. It's like a building, the common crew for all the buildings is like 3. That's not always the case, but for most buildings that's the case. And usually you have like hundreds of units, so we are currently at a total population of 356. And therefore 3 is not really that much. You will usually build multiples of the buildings anyway. So the question is more if you want 3, 6 or 9 in a specific building. But of course you can also pause a building, you can also disable it, for example, and remove units going and tell them to go into a different location if you need them at another place. For example, miners are in that case flexible. They do not care if they mine stone or if they mine silver or if they mine coal. So you can send them to all the different locations, for example, if you forgot to produce the tools in the meantime. We have also the wood workshop finished, and we will use the wood workshop now to produce new wooden spears and some cogwheels. The cogwheels are necessary for some of the advanced buildings like the windmill, but also the stone mill we placed before. So I guess it's now ready, but missing the wooden cogwheels to operate and to finish the construction. And the spears are necessary for guards. We want to recruit new guards to be able to expand our territory faster. So right now I have 20 guards, but of course if I had 50, I would be more than twice as fast in expanding the territory. Also, many of the buildings that we have quite large ranges. So let's see, I think down here we don't really find space anywhere for this building, so we used everything. Maybe here it fits, yeah, okay, but that's really tight. Oh, why not? We can do it here, but I personally like the other side here a bit more, so let's go here and place the building here. And we can already now, after just placing the building, tell when it's done, please recruit 10 guards with wooden spears already when we place the building.
Can you give some hints at more enemy types beside the werewolves?
Yes, we will have thieves and bandits especially, which will visit your villages and steal material. The bandits will also attack transports, for example trade transports, and steal the material that was transported. So you probably need to secure those areas with your soldiers. But there's also mystic creatures. We have, besides werewolves, we have spirits and ghosts. And you need also mystic units to defeat them, like witches and sorcerers. But as mentioned, magic is not the core of our game world. It's more about it's a world about manufacturing. So we are not, for example, teleporting goods or anything. So magic is only existing in a limited way, and maybe a bit like in fairy tales, for example. And in the meantime, it's getting quite wuselig, as you can see. There's many units walking around everywhere. Everyone who is walking around has some specific order or purpose, what the plan is to do. And as we can see, even with already only 360 units, it's getting quite busy. And as you will be able later to build really large cities with thousands of units overall. In the meantime, this area here is ready. And we can place the crop farm.
Here's another question regarding road construction. Is it possible to have upgradable roads?
Not at early access. We plan to have different road types and also different transport methods, different vehicle types. But this is not yet, let's say, officially announced what kind of roads and what kind of transport methods we will exactly have. But after, during the early access phase, we will add several options here. Okay, some more fields. The crop farm can plant corn, flax, and wheat. So flax can also grow naturally in the world. We didn't find any, so we want to have that. Flax can be used to craft cloths, and on the other hand, you can use it. What was the second thing besides cloth? That's ropes. You need ropes, for example, for the belts, and therefore flax is also necessary. Corn is very much appreciated by your citizens as a delicious vegetable, so it helps your population growth, while wheat and creating bread is mostly useful on one hand for the explorers with their rations, but also for the miners, because this food has high nutrition values. So let's go here. I think that's enough. Let's not forget the well this time, because watering is needed for the farm. And let's see what happens here. As mentioned, the stone mill is ready. Just the wooden cogwheels are not, so they are still incoming. We can now take also a look where they are. You can see the highlighted unit here. So let's take a closer look. Here's the cogwheel is coming. So finally the building can be soon finished. Where is the second one? Can we also find it? There should be a highlighted unit somewhere. Oh, it's still back here. So this will take a bit of time until this one arrives. But soon we get our first cement. Cement will be necessary, for example, for the windmill. We can already place it maybe here. So let's see if we already have enough space. The windmill is really large. Yeah, it already fits. Let's do it like this. So it can also be constructed while the farm is in development. Okay, here on the east part, the military academy is mostly done. 66%. Most material is already there. A bit of material is still incoming. You'll see here the silver, so we will build a silver mine in this area.
Another question from the chat maybe.
Sure.
Are there plans of a faster transport system, maybe with donkeys or small wagons?
Yeah, as mentioned before, so we don't deliver details yet of our advanced transport methods, but as mentioned, there will be different road types and different transport methods added in the future, so you can guess what that might be. Okay, here we see they are hunting the rabbits already quite successfully. Here's a hunter just coming back. Yeah, we really have large rabbits, quite large rabbits, but that's also helpful if you zoom out so that you can still find them hopping around. Okay, up here, it's now, we should proceed with the mining. We have coal available, we still lack iron. That's a pity, because back here, we can already see in the forks there's iron ore. So let's extend that way, because that's quite far. We place our third tower up here to make sure we can advance that direction. I hope it's possible to build a path down here. There's a small possibility to get back down here and connect it with our main village. Well, guard tower to expand further, okay, but in the meantime we can also tell the guards to already extend into that direction to make sure we get the ore faster. Then let's place here, it's a good place for coal. We can place coal mines here. Would be good. We need a lot of coal. We need it first to melt the ore, and second, all the smithies will need it to craft the tools, as we have, for example, for the toolsmiths. So coal is necessary there. Let's see, the toolsmith still has some coal, because we are not producing that many tools yet. But as soon as we want to produce weapons to recruit many soldiers, there will be a lot of need for coal and iron ore. Here's also something which is quite something that we should do for sure, is like connect here. This because the units are currently mostly walking always around here if they need to go from right to left. And that really doesn't make that much sense. So if we find kind of a shortcut that makes sense, we should definitely add it to our road network. Okay, Silver Hut, coal mine, ore mine is still out of reach, so we have to wait until this part is explored. We can maybe also add already the smelting works, since we have coal here and iron ore here. This might be a good place here for smelting works. Sadly, we cannot place it here on this rocky terrain, but there's still enough room beside it. Okay.
Maybe another question?
Sure.
Do the houses have to be near the tavern?
The houses do not have to be near the tavern, but it's really beneficial if you have some houses near the tavern at least, because the units which will go here to the tables and eat are the ones coming from the houses. So if they are all far away, then they have to walk quite some distance. The meal ingredients now are much more versatile. You see there's also the cabbage and pumpkins already here. So we have more different food ingredients. We didn't find any porcini yet, so maybe we can find some soon, I'm not sure. So we have to further extend. By the way, what did the explorer do? So explored all this area and a bit further, but exploration stopped. Probably because we are out of rations. Let's take a look at the explorer. 0 rations in there, 1 is incoming, so we started finally producing new rations, but right now the explorers are waiting for new supply. So you can see if we look at the provisioner, so why isn't the rations incoming fast enough? There's firewood coming, that's enough here. There's almost no meat, so they cannot smoke meat, but it's incoming. So 1 meat is there and 10 more are currently incoming. So the provisioner is now getting a lot of rabbit meat. That should help them to supply the explorer to make sure the exploration can continue. About the residences, it definitely makes sense not only to have them around the tavern. So for example, it's a good spot up here. We can, so for example, place here 2 residences, because that means that some carriers which are not busy will go here and wait, and whenever, for example, a transport from the farm to the windmill has to be executed, the carrier doesn't need to walk from somewhere here or even from the ship. So it definitely makes sense to put residences in different locations, maybe at a bit more kind of central points to make sure they can walk in different directions and pick up resources and commodities to deliver them fast. So we can now use that a bit to fill kind of gaps that we see that we have, to place a few residences here and there. Okay, we are almost at the iron. Here is the iron ore. Still a bit to go, but we are almost there. So we can probably already construct the ore hut. We don't get that close yet, so we can wait a bit, but I'm now impatient, so let's place it here. Not perfect, because the walk distance is a bit larger than necessary, but now they can already start constructing, and maybe that's now more important for me. We've built one smelting works, or we've planned to build one. Let's place a second one, because we will also melt silver soon, not only iron, so we have more capacity. One smelting works can melt both iron and silver, but it's probably getting too busy as soon as we provide both, so we built a second one. Maybe there's also a possibility to connect this area here with the area up here. Make sure we have another shortcut. We don't know yet, but we can find out soon. Let's wait a bit until the ore is in our territory, and then we tell the guards to expand here in this direction, so we can maybe use that.
For now you're playing the faction as a single player, but will there be a possibility for a co-op in future?
Yes, there will be a possibility for co-op. So we start at early access with single player mode, but already in the first quarter of 2024, so shortly after the early access release, we will add cooperative gameplay. And the first multiplayer mode we add is a split core. That means that you can play one faction here together, so you can split tasks as you like. Maybe one of you wants to care for food production and the other one wants to take care of expansion and military recruitment, or maybe one wants to go to the north and the other one wants to go to the east. And we will add more multiplayer modes later, but this is not yet public what in detail we will add after that. Okay, here we have the farm already done. And as you can see, it's planting all the different things out there. It seems also we still have a few patches of land which are not used, so it's probably they are busy enough. We maybe don't need more. There's wheat out there. There's flax. And also, let's see, there's corn planted. So when the plants are young, it's not that easy to tell the difference, but as they grow, we'll soon see that in more detail. The stone mill is finished in the meantime. It's now here producing cement, so it's already running. The limestone gets put into the machinery and we get cement. And this is necessary for example, the windmill. It's the first building we placed that needs it. And we can see all materials for the windmill already arrived except the cement, so 2 already there, 4 more incoming. We need 12 total, so there's still a bit of to wait, but that's totally fine because all the corn, all the wheat is not yet ripe. It had not been harvested, so there would not be anything to mill anyway at this point in time.
So you mentioned earlier that there will be neutral factions for early access, and trade is becoming more important then. Maybe you can elaborate a little bit about trade?
Yeah, there will be trade offers by neutral factions which are on the island already. Those neutral factions have different kinds of tasks and problems and you try to help them. And also they have different trade offers. It's not like you can trade anything versus everything, because that's not the intention. Otherwise it would be quite boring probably, because all the resources would be available by the neutral factions. But instead they have specific offers, and sometimes they might be exciting offers for the player, sometimes not. And it really depends. You have to individually choose if you want to trade or not. And this will also be, the whole trade feature will be already available at early access. And that means that the trade, of course, will also be completely executed in detail. So that means you are delivering your resources, your commodities to your trade buildings, and traders will pick up the commodities, transport them to the other faction, return is the goods that you want to trade for to your territory. So it will all be executed in detail, and of course you also probably need to protect the trade route, because there might be bandits plundering your traders, and of course you probably don't want that. If they do, the commodities will just be dropped where the units have been, and maybe you can pick them up later, but maybe they are also lost for a long time. Let's see what our recruitment is doing. We have ordered the wood workshop to create 10 spears. It seems they are already finished. And we ordered the military academy, and that's also done. The orders of 10 guards is executed. That means they are probably, they are just now arriving at the 3rd guard tower that we've placed here. So 9 are there and 1 is incoming. And we see the last one incoming. I can't right now, but the last guard is currently traveling to the tower. And they can then extend the territory from here, so that of course will be much shorter walking distance to get into new areas like here. So of course the ranges are really big of some buildings that we have. As you can see, the guard tower, this is a 25% line, 50, 75 and 100. So you can extend with this guard tower up to this point, but the walking distance of course gets longer and longer. So as a player you have to decide at some point if you want to build a new one, and you can do this earlier or later as you like. But now we can use this tower here to explore this area. That's what we wanted to connect this part. And here, go for that place. As you can see, we've explored some part of the island down here. In the demo, the amount of exploration you can do is limited to 60,000 square meters. Here up here we can see how much we have. So it's kind of initial territory plus 60,000, so about 70,000 that we can explore in the demo. But as you can see, the amount of territory we own yet, the claimed area is like 11% of the whole island. So the islands that we offer are quite big. You can really build big settlements, cities, and with a lot of units. So this is kind of, if you want, you can definitely build up for several hours in a row something which is really large.
So maybe because we are nearly coming to the end of the stream, we have a couple of minutes left, but maybe you want to summarize some of the features that will be included into early access.
Yeah, in early access, additional features beyond what you see in the demo is that we have combat. That means there are different hostile enemy unit types which are scattered all over the land, and some of them are also attacking your village, so you have to protect your people. As mentioned before, if you prefer peaceful build-up, you can also do that. That's one of the major parts here that we will add to early access. The second is that the neutral factions with trade will be there, and different objectives. There will be lots of variety of objectives. Maybe they need food and you deliver them food, but also it can happen that they want you to help them build a temple somewhere on the island for their rituals, and so there are many different kind of tasks you can get from the neutral factions. There will be also a few more economy buildings. The demo has more than 30 buildings already, but the early access version will have more than 40 buildings. And in the first quarter of 2024, what will be added is, as mentioned, the cooperative gameplay mode. We will also have subsurface mining, so the geologists and mines which search for resources below the surface will be in the game. The fisher will be added in the first quarter, also additional statistics and information. By the way, statistics, we can also take a look up here. You can see there's a lot of numbers here in the top bar, but this interface is also configurable. So for example, if you say, okay, for me, the amount of hardwood boards is not that important, but instead I would like to know how much firewood I have, or I want to know how much limestone and cement I have. You can enable that, and then you have a permanent display in your main HUD about those numbers. And that's really then up to you if you want to have all the numbers at once, or if you prefer to stay just with the most important numbers, let's say, just keep most of the screen available still for the beautiful city and the villages.
Another question from the chat is, can we as players change the player color, or I think he means the faction color, in early access?
Yes, that will be possible. So right now you can see it's kind of this bluish color that is used for the player color, and you will be able to choose from a variety of different colors when you set up the map. Here, by the way, we can see how many carriers we have, so 210 overall, so that's quite good. Since we have currently 80 or 77 now, it changes all the time, which are not busy. So if this number gets 0, you are in kind of trouble, because it means that you do not have enough carriers to transport all the commodities around that would like to be transported right now. And this is kind of an important number, since the number of carriers will also reduce every time you hire craftsmen, every time you hire military units. It means that some units some carriers will turn into those units, and then you have less carriers. So you need to make sure that your population is growing, or your transport capacity will suffer. It also depends a lot on the map, since every map is different. So for example, here we have the problem that we don't have much space in the initial area, so we need immediately to extend to some kind of outskirt areas here. And that means that we have long transport routes. So we need a lot of carriers here to make sure that our transport system stays efficient. So here population is maybe more important, to get early additional populations than in a map where you have a lot of space in your initial build-up area. You can already see here the smelting works are operating. Right now here let's see what they are producing right now. They are producing an iron bar. There's a lot of coal available already, a bit of ore, but silver is not yet here, silver ore, and it's incoming. Let's take a look. The iron hut started working, probably it just started 2 or 3 minutes ago, and that means that we will get a lot of the iron ore. And same is with the silver hut, but that's already quite full, so there's a lot of silver. Yeah, final thing we could build here is probably a mint to create coins. And well, now that's a good place that we would like to have a connection here. So silver bars will be coming from the smelting works, and the coal will be coming from here. So up here is really in a perfect position for a mint. So we can do that here. And we also maybe want to place a treasury where the silver coins can be stored to boost our soldiers, but maybe we don't want to place the treasury next to kind of potential enemy locations. Now the forest, which was initially in the center of our village here, has been cut down, so we can place the treasury here. That's maybe a much safer spot to make sure that the thieves will not get their hands on those things. Here we see the construction camp, by the way, and now a lot of units coming out here, so they waited here for new orders. And since this construction camp is very close here to the treasury, these units are coming now to start working here at this place.
Maybe a last question from the chat. Will our residents die if we run out of food, or does population grow just stop?
No, we are not a survival game, so that means you don't have upkeeps that you need to feed your people continuously. Instead, it means that your population will no longer grow. If you have no food, the comfort meals are necessary for that, and the nutrition meals are necessary for the miners to work. So if you have no more food at all, then exploration, mining, and population growth will stop, but you will not have a kind of a game over situation because of that.
I think the hour is up.
Yeah, what a pity.
It was so much fun, thank you. So, thank you guys so much for watching and joining our live stream. Don't forget to wishlist the game on Steam and watch out for our early access on the 13th of December in 2023. Also, our demo we just played is now available on Steam, so you can have a look at Pagonia yourself and build all those lovely villages. If you want to show them to us, please do join our Discord or follow our social media channels and yeah, have a chat with us and stay in contact.
Have fun. See you in Pagonia. Goodbye.
Thank you so much. Bye.